Hey, you all, it's New Year's Eve. It's 10 after 8. Some of the fireworks had begun. Most people here in Porter's Lake often celebrate New Year's before 12 o'clock actually arrives. And we are a few hours before 2025. So we're going to talk about the events that transpired in 2024. And some of the things that have transpired starts in Ottawa, when most members of Parliament, including the Liberal Party of Canada, have been calling for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's resignation as leader of the Liberal Party of Canada. That means the Liberal Party of Canada can, if Justin Trudeau refuses to stand down, the Liberal Party of Canada can call for a no confidence vote, causing Justin Trudeau to lose his status as the Liberal leader of Canada's leadership status, which means if the Liberals were to re-win the federal election, that Justin Trudeau would not be the Prime Minister. Their newly elected leader would be the new Prime Minister. And secondly, Nova Scotia had an election that nobody was really interested in. Remember that back in November when Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston had called a Nova Scotia provincial election that nobody was really interested in. And not only was a lot of people not interested in that election, people were not that interested because they weren't addressing concerns that actually mattered to Nova Scotians. Did you not ever notice that back in November when Tim Houston called the 2024 Nova Scotia election? Thirdly, Halifax had a municipal election. Also, Mike Savage decided not to reoffer because Justin Trudeau gave Mike Savage a job as the next Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia, a job that Mike Savage no longer has to worry about getting reelected because he was appointed to be the next Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia. And the new mayor, Andy Fillmore, had been raising concerns since he'd been elected since mid-October. Some of those concerns started from Andy Fillmore stating that the worst of Halifax's housing crisis are behind him. It's over. When the truth of the fact is Halifax's housing crisis is strongly still in motion, is strongly being felt by most people across Halifax because that jurisdiction of affordable housing falls in the jurisdictions of the province of Nova Scotia. And right from Daryl Dexter, what's his name there, Stephen McNeil, Ian Rankin, to Tim Houston, not one Nova Scotia Premier or not one Nova Scotia government was ever addressing affordable housing here in Nova Scotia. In fact, if a person was to go to these premiers and address affordable housing crisis in their direction, they would just ignore you and brush you off and just don't take your crisis serious. And that's how Nova Scotia politics has been handled. We can hear the fireworks going off behind us here. Usually in Porter's Lake, they have guns going off at 12 o'clock. But for the past number of years, 6 years, I should say, they switched over to fireworks. I would imagine because of the long gun registry rules, they don't want to get in the hassles with the police, so they just easier to switch over to fireworks, I would assume. But the attitude of the Halifax mayor, Andy Fillmore, had been a concern to a lot of Haligonians, a lot of people in Halifax, because a lot of that concern came from when Andy Fillmore was running for the mayor in mid-October when he got elected. There have been people who had been supporting Andy Fillmore, endorsing Andy Fillmore, who the average person would think that they would not lean in that direction. And one of those people was Peter Stauffer, former NDP member of Parliament, one of the greatest member of Parliament in the history of Canada. He was backing up Andy Fillmore, and here's Andy Fillmore telling the majority of Halifax that the worst of their housing crisis is behind them, and when in fact it's in full swing. And then he's there talking about, if they should continue keeping affordable housing on the forefront or not, and my concern is like all the rest of us. I address Andy Fillmore myself on his email account. And if you see this email account address here, you can email Andy Fillmore and tell him what your housing crisis concerns. And my concern, what I told Andy Fillmore, is that When Andy Fillmore got elected as mayor, here we are in the month of December, December 31st. Tomorrow will be January 1st. I told him on email that I'm concerned that I feel that Andy Fillmore does not have the mental mortality to be mayor of Halifax. And I stated, if this is Andy Fillmore's attitude, perhaps Andy Fillmore should possibly step down as mayor of Halifax, and not only step down as mayor of Halifax, but have Halifax Regional Council call for a no confidence vote, replace Andy Fillmore as mayor, let the deputy mayor take over until a by-election is called. Then we'll go in a different direction with a more responsible, more reliable, and respectful mayor who can lead our city. Because when you hear the attitude that Andy Fillmore had brought forward, I'm concerned. Now, here we are in 2024. You would think affordable housing would not ever be a topic that would be in crisis. It's in full-blown crisis. Majority of the people in Halifax can't afford a basic apartment on their own. Can't do it. So, but anyways, it's 15 after 8. It's 8:15. We're going to come back later on when the celebrations begin, and we're going to be here to 12 o'clock when it turns 2025. But anyways, we're here live in Porters Lake, Nova Scotia. You all, it's 9:45 p.m. We're about 2.5 hours away from New Year's, from transpiring. This year took a lot of us by surprise. Did you not notice that happened on December 24th? When was the last time you could say you honestly witnessed a snowstorm on Christmas Eve? Here we were this year, December 24th, we all witnessed our very first reasonable snowstorm in, close to 20, 30 years? I would say it's at least 20 to 30 years when we all witnessed a reasonable snowstorm on Christmas Eve. Because usually here in Nova Scotia, the average Christmas weather usually is, nowadays, rain, drizzle, fog, and mud. That's the average Christmas weather here in Nova Scotia on Christmas. Let alone, here we have our first ever good-sized snowstorm in close to 20, 30 years. Some people told me, no, I think we've seen one here in 2013. Best I could remember is at least 20 to 30 years ago. That long ago. And I got to say is, with our global warming changing things, how we once recognized our weather to be, it's no longer how it used to be anymore. And rain, fog, drizzle, and mud is the average Christmas weather here in Nova Scotia. For all you people around the world, United States, all around the world, if you're watching this video, Nova Scotia, Canada, it's very rare when we get a snowstorm on Christmas that's a good size snowstorm or no snow at all. Because usually our winter weather doesn't actually start until mid-January, early February. That's just the way the weather goes here. And the other things that had changed, that was mentioned this year, 2024, was back in October during the municipal election. Longtime council member David Hensby, who is the council member for District 2, who first got elected in 2003 when he lost his seat, when he was the MLA for the community of Preston Lake Echo, when he lost his seat to Keith Caldwell, when he just lost his seat by 25 votes to Keith Caldwell. So David Hansby decided to focus his time back at municipal politics, make his return to Halifax City Hall, and he did that in 2003. And ever since 2003, David Hansby had been a council member for the Eastern Shore community, and that riding of the district been changing over the years, you know. And right now it's District 2, and this year, during the municipal election, David Hensby had made it known. So if all you people did not hear this announcement, David Hensby had stated that this year, this last past municipal election, 2024, that just had gone by, he had stated he is considering retiring. And the concern is, now if David Hensby was to retire officially, I mean, he definitely worked for it, he definitely put his time in for it, but the thing is, the Eastern Shore really doesn't have really anybody reasonable to replace David Hensby. I mean, the Eastern Shore is known for electing people who's causing more problems, posing more threats to the community and people's livelihoods than what they're doing any good. That's one of the things that I noticed when I lived on the Eastern Shore, because like I said in the past many times, they had an MLA during the MLA expense scandal. He was caught stealing well over $60,000. Where's the justification now? Why is this person allowed to go home? If that was you or I or anybody else, you got at least 25, 30 years of imprisonment sentence coming in your direction, but it's all right for this MLA to do that. So again, like I said, how the Eastern Shore is known for electing people who's known for bringing problematic situations, posing a risk to people's livelihoods, is the type of person who they are known for electing. Look at their MLA, Kent Smith, prime example. Nobody liked him, yet they get him reelected by a landslide victory. So was that tight. And one of the things like the Eastern Shore, what I noticed over the years when I have been living on the Eastern Shore, is that as long as you wear the Liberal banner or the Conservative banner, they'll always reelect you. Don't matter what kind of a problematic person you are, what you've done wrong in the community, they will always elect them and reelect those people. So when David Hensby retires 3 years from now the question is, who can we find who can replace David Hensby and keep our community thriving the way how it is? Because I'll have to admit it, if it wasn't for David Hensby, if you're watching, the Eastern Shore would literally have nothing. There was only two politicians who the Eastern Shore elected that was half decent, and that was Peter Stauffer and David Hensby. The rest of them, throw them out because they're not worth the tea to be drinking over, put it that way. And other shocking things that had happened just recently. Former United States President Jimmy Carter passed away. I was actually surprised when I was told that. I didn't learn of this over the press. I very rarely watch television unless it's a good sized movie. I heard it from a family member that he said, "Adam, did you hear?" I said, "No." He told me that President Jimmy Carter died. I was, whoa, I was shocked to hear that, because of my biggest remembrance of President Jimmy Carter is the day when Elvis Presley passed away. He gave a good, reasonable, respectful eulogy speech for Elvis Presley. You know, I really took my hat off to President Jimmy Carter for what he had to say for Elvis, because face it, Elvis changed the face of music, how you know it today. He changed a lot of good things for the better, you know. And, you know, good people is something that I notice in today's world that is lacking. We don't have a lot of good fireworks that started. Some off the side of us, you can hear it. And that's something the world needs more of. But other things that I had this year that I had noticed was the war between Russia and Ukraine. We need, as Canada needs to come together. Whoever our next prime minister is comes this year, Pierre Paulette most likely, or whoever the Liberal Party decides to pick to replace Justin Trudeau. We need to interact with the world, the United States, Great Britain, all these big countries. We got to come together like we did in World War II. How do we disarm Russia, and how do we bring this threat of Russia to a halt? And not only that, how do we get Putin to stand down as the Russian president? Can we get him to resign on his own terms? Can the people of Russia call an election, vote out President Putin without Putin reacting and lashing out on his people, bringing certain death to his own people for the way how they voted? Or can we force Putin out by military force? Can we get rid of this? Because the thing is, here today, in today's world, Russia is the country that's posing a risk to the world, and they are. Because when I see things today, the world needs to change in the direction where we're going in. Because there's a lot of groups of people who will cry racism, harassment, sexism, prejudice, you name it. When what they're protesting is not actually happening, they'll just use that just so they can gain whatever reason why they're protesting. And I, from what I can see, but the thing with Russia, that's a serious thing that needs to be addressed. Because I like to see the world come together and make peace. Because one of the things I notice with the world today is there's a lot of hate, a lot of ignorance, a lot of selfishness, that people are not willing to respect one another because of their differences, because they may be in poverty, because the services that's supposed to be there to help people is not there, like how the government says it is. And I believe the world what we live in easily can be a better place to live in. So here we are. It's just, was it 20 to 10? Still got time yet. We still got another 2 hours before New Year's. But anyways, we'll come back later on and we'll continue filming New Year's live here in Porters Lake, Nova Scotia. You all, it's 11:30. We are very close of 2025. But anyways, we're going to talk about the celebrity side of things of 2024. This year, I don't know if you heard on the news that actor Dave Coulier, better known for the comedian television show America's Funniest People, and then he went on to co-host another TV show called Full House, where he played the character Joey Gladstone. Dave Coulier had released this year, he had made it known this year that he is home battling stage 4 cancer, leukemia. Now, Dave Coulier had stated that he had received tons of concerning, heartwarming, get well emails, letters, Instagram messages from fans and people around the world wishing him a quick, speedy recovery. And I can tell you, I can understand where Dave Coulier is coming from, because when you are diagnosed with cancer, if you have a family member or loved one at home who've been diagnosed with cancer, you're scared. You don't know what's coming around the corner. You don't know if you're going to beat this battle or not, if you're going to overcome it. You really don't know. And you're actually facing a lot of uncertainty. And so Dave Coulier had made it known that he's home fighting stage 4 cancer. And he had also stated that when he went to the doctors, being tested, receiving the treatment, he told everybody that his specialist that he has seen had made it known to Dave that this cancer is 90% recoverable. Basically, what he's telling Dave is that there's a high chance that you're going to beat your battle with cancer. And I take my hat off to Dave Coulier. I stand by him, and I wish him all the best in his recovery of leukemia. And also in the entertainment side of things, actor John Schneider, better known for a TV series Smallville, and from 1979 to 1985, he was on another TV show called The Dukes of Hazzard, where he played the character Bo Duke. This year, it was announced that he was going to come out of retirement, re-enter the acting industry, and I believe he's going to take part in a movie. And John Schneider, if you are familiar with him, he's a very nice person in real life. Let's just say if the Dukes of Hazzard was real, he would be more like the Uncle Jesse like kind of character. He's a very nice person. He's there helping people who he never even met before. Where I work in the film industry, I became affiliated with John Schneider. Me and him communicate quite a bit. He lives down in Florida, and I gotta say, I wish him all the best of luck in his new movies in. And was it 2 years ago? His wife Alicia died of cancer, and he was quite devastated about it. And myself and other people, we came out. We supported John Schneider because it was Tom Wopat on his Twitter account. He made it known to John's friends like myself and his fans. He said, "Guys, John's wife unfortunately passed away this evening, and let's show him some support the best way we can." And that was the reason why I reached out to John Schneider, because I had a message on Instagram from Tom Wopat letting us know, basically saying, "Adam, your friend there, John, he needs your support right now." And that's basically what had happened. And he got by it. It was a struggle. He got by it, but it's life. Life ends unexpectedly when we don't like it. We don't want it to happen, but it happens, right? And other things in the entertainment world. Transformers 1 came out. That was a huge success. I didn't go to, because usually all the Transformers movies I did go to, but this one I didn't, because Peter Cullen, who's known for doing the voice acting for the main character on Transformers Optimus Prime, he was not in it. In fact, Peter Cullen made it known. He said after pregnant 40-some years, he stated, "I'm going to retire. I'm going to retire from voice acting." And he said he would like his character Optimus Prime to be taken over by another actor who can duplicate his voice very close to how he did Optimus Prime. And he basically passed a torch on to the younger generation of the Transformers franchise, so they can take it over. And other things in the movie industry this year. In November, it was December 6th, the Trailer Park Boys came out with a movie called Standing on the Shoulders of Kitties that did very well. And it did so well, they made record-breaking numbers, and they didn't even have the full cast with them because the Trailer Park Boys, basically, it just faded off the radar. But according to the fans did not let it die. And that's what keeps the show going, you the fans. And this June, the Giant Tiger, Trailer Park Boys, Rob Wells, Jean Paul Tremblay, and Mike Smith all came out. They were greeting the fans, having time out with the fans. Rob Wells, he met me, treated me like a king. Said, "Hey, Adam, how you doing?" I met Rob many times, but never like this. And Rob was a very nice guy to me, and I take my hat off to him. And what else is there? We're what? Very close to New Year's. It's quite silent now. Not that long ago, we had fireworks going off. It was very loud. Like I said before, usually in Porter's Lake here, they usually have guns going off. Anyways, we had technicality problems with the lights, but we got them up and running. But anyways, we're 5 minutes away from 2025. Anyways, before 2025 rolls in, let's talk about some other issues that have taken place in our Halifax region. Downtown Halifax had a huge bike theft problem. And one of the things that Halifax police are advising people, if you have an expensive mountain bike or if you rely on a mountain bike to get to or from your destinations, they have stated that you may want to avoid downtown Halifax core for the time being. And unfortunately, one of the things that have been happening with bike theft problems in downtown Halifax is majority of the bikes that were stolen were actually locked up on the bike rack itself. So that means the people who are stealing these mountain bikes from the bike racks are coming equipped with tools to pick your lock, to cut your lock, and steal your bike. And unfortunately, the other problem that the Halifax police have been having is when the Halifax police turn to these Scotia Square, Halifax City Hall, all the security cameras in downtown core, the main problem what they've been having is that the camera quality, the picture quality to the video surveillance is providing poor picture quality. Therefore, the Halifax police are struggling to identify the culprits, the people responsible stealing the bikes. They are struggling to find good picture quality so it can identify the people responsible so they can bring them to justice. And now, back in mid-November, there was a press release that the Halifax police had stated that several scooters, mountain bikes, e-bikes had been recovered. And I was told that they were, on the news release, they were recovered underneath the McDonald Bridge where somebody or people were trying to sell them for profit, their bikes, the stolen bikes, and the police had recovered some of them. But that doesn't mean that everybody who had their mountain bikes stolen, which is what they're quite expensive now, that they were reunited with their stolen mountain bikes. And unfortunately, when you're dealing with mountain bikes today, a good mountain bike today at a bike shop, that can range from anywhere from $1,200 up to $2,500. Quite expensive. So downtown Halifax basically is a community that you may want to avoid going to if you're traveling by mountain bike. Cars broken into? I was told that they were, and usually the people responsible are the people who are accessing the downtown Halifax encampment sites. The majority of the bikes who had been stolen from the owners, the Halifax police had stated that they had recovered some of those stolen bikes from the encampment shelters in downtown Halifax. So we have an idea who's doing what there. So for the time being, until Halifax Regional Council and the province of Nova Scotia decides to regain the downtown core of Halifax, I would avoid the downtown core until that problem is solved. So if you have a mountain bike, if you're traveling to Halifax, you may want to avoid the downtown core. And I was told that there have been people who've been locking their mountain bikes at the not downtown Halifax, but at the superstore. Must be New Year's. To avoid Halifax. So if you got a mountain bike, use it. Avoid Halifax. But darkness is on. But anyways, it's 2025. Happy New Year's. It's officially 2025. Look at this. Let's stand back and listen to the fireworks. And a few buildings going off, didn't we? Now, would it be 2025? Here's the question I'm going to ask you. What is your New Year's resolution? There's a good question. Usually mine is weight. I like to lose weight on my stomach. That's my usually New Year's resolution. I'm usually good for about 2 months, and that's the end of that. But that's why, again, my New Year's resolution. Again, I'm going to try to cut that back, do things better for my health. And so I'm going to ask you guys at home, what is your New Year's resolution for 2025? But anyways, it's 2025. It's New Year's. Happy New Year's, and we'll see you again next year. The one thing that I noticed with New Year's, since New Year's is taking place, is that they don't go to downtown Halifax anymore because of the cost of everything. And with this crisis, with the housing situation, and with the homeless encampments, cars getting broken into, mountain bikes being stolen. If you're asking me, last time when I went to downtown Halifax on New Year's, I'd be lying to you because I wouldn't know, because the situation with downtown Halifax, I'm just not going in that environment anymore. And last time I went to downtown Halifax at a pub, I noticed that the downtown core they're charging far more than what the average bar would charge, basically taking advantage of people going to downtown Halifax to enjoy themselves. Because of that, I don't go to Halifax no more. So that's why I do my New Year's stuff at home, because it's better and I enjoy it better. And I noticed that with other people, they're not going to downtown Halifax. They're going to Dartmouth at a friend's house or whatever, or they'll go to a pub in Dartmouth, or even in Porter's Lake now. I noticed that too. A lot of them go to the Porter's Lake. But the downtown core on New Year's, forget about it. In a way, I don't really blame them. You're going to go where it's more cheaper, or it's more affordable, so you can enjoy yourself with you and your friends. So me going downtown Halifax, I wouldn't know, because I'd be lying to you if I told you. I really don't know. I've actually forgotten.